Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sandra Martell with the Winnebago County Health Department, and today I'm joined by Mayor Tom McNamara from the City of Rockford. So we have good news to report today. Yes, vaccine has been received in the region. Our 3 hospitals came and picked up their vaccine allotments and are beginning the process of vaccinating healthcare workers inside their walls. A couple of reminders, though, of general principles as we move through this. We're very excited. This is a great day and opportunity, but it's going to be a long process to get everyone vaccinated. Local health departments in our region are overseeing the allocations, and we all know that there are limited quantities available to start this vaccine effort. We also should be very clear that this is a very fragile vaccine, which is why it's appropriate to start it in the inpatient and hospital world. Why? Because it needs special temperatures. It has to be administered within a certain time frame. It has to be protected from light. So the initial prioritization are those healthcare providers on the front lines in the healthcare systems. The next priority group are residents of long-term care facilities. And you've been hearing about that through a contract with CVS and Walgreens, they will be going in and vaccinating the residents. But please be patient. I know we are all very excited. There's no waiting list or appointment list for other populations at this time. I know we are all receiving calls saying, please put me on the list, call me when it's available. We will announce when it's available, and we will go through the process of how you can get on any kind of a list. Please don't call your healthcare providers. They are also backed up with routine appointments, and calling them when they have not received a vaccine takes valuable time from their office staff and time. Please know that all adults who want a vaccine will have access in 2021. The vaccine is administered 21 days apart at this time, so people that are being vaccinated today or tomorrow or in the next 5 days are going to have to receive their second dose to be completely covered at the high rate of protection, 21 days or 3 weeks apart. At this time, vaccination is voluntary, and it does require the consent of the individual. So during this time, we continue to need to practice non-pharmaceutical social mitigations. That includes masking, social distancing, frequent hand washing, staying home when you're sick, and limiting contacts outside of your household. Another good point today, and good news, is the number of cases. We are at 160 cases today. Our total case count to date is 21,238. But once again, this disease does not know an age limit. Children from 9 months of age to 96 years old are being reported. We also lost 2 additional residents of our community, and our heartfelt sympathy goes out to their families. The Winnebago County test positivity rate is 11.7%, and our regional positivity rate is 10.6%. I know we have all worked very, very hard to get here. The number of COVID positive and people under investigation in Rockford hospitals, as reported on Monday, was 145, which was down 3 since last Thursday. So once again, we're improving, but it's a very gradual and tenuous improvement. 98% of our individuals recover, and we are not reporting any new locations of concern. So as we look at some of this positive news, decrease in positivity rates, decrease in hospitalizations, no spike in cases associated with the Thanksgiving holiday. I want to thank my community. I think you did a great job over this. Decrease in number of new cases per week. Schools that remained in person did not report any episodes of in-school transmission, and they are finishing out the end of their school term week this week. So we want to thank those teachers, the school nurses, those superintendents, and the families in those schools who worked very hard to keep themselves in session through the end. And more entities are signing up to participate and provide the Binax Now antigen testing, which again, when you talk about test positivity rate, the number of tests is critically important, and it increases the capacity throughout our entire system. So what's the downside? We continue to have deaths, and our case rates continue above 50 per 100,000. So while we talk about coming into the next, maybe stepping back a little bit on the mitigations, we are working with the Illinois Department of Public Health and the Governor's Office to look at lifting some of our Tier 3 restrictions based on our improved metrics for our region in Winnebago County. So it's important that we understand that we are asking for that lift, but we're also going to have to hold vigilant because we have majority of our winter holidays are coming up when people want to gather, when they want to celebrate, when they'll tend to take their face coverings off to eat those cookies with each other. It's very important that we understand that those are the behaviors that we really need to work on as individuals and collectively as a community. So we continue to encourage the community to continue working on that, wearing a face covering, social distancing, frequent hand washing, staying home when you're ill, working home as much as possible when you can be remote, and continuing to support our local businesses that are suffering under these Tier 3 mitigations. Our hope is that we can continue this improved trend. With that, I'd like to have the mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Martell. Thank you and your team, especially now over the last couple of weeks, not just continuing to work to slow the spread, but also develop the vaccination plan and accept the vaccine today, which is really exciting. We're finally starting to see some really good news. We're seeing that lower positivity rate, and that vaccine is now here in our community, and implementation of it is beginning. However, as we've always said, as you're running the marathon, we still have a ways to go, and now is the time that we just need to continue to be vigilant. Even with this good news, we continue to see friends and family members tragically lose their life or contract this deadly disease. Now is not the time for us to lose our focus as a community. Just think of all the healthcare workers who remain on those front lines during this battle. And please remain focused and do it for them. In Rockford, we have right around 10,000 people who work in the healthcare systems and at clinics and independent practices in our community. We all know someone who works in the healthcare sector. So let's think about them and help them stay healthy and help them do their critical job that they're doing so well on behalf of all of us. So many sectors in our economy have struggled during this pandemic. I would argue that probably bars and restaurants have been hit some of the hardest in our community and across the entire state of Illinois. Today, I'm really excited that the city of Rockford is able to announce that 81 local businesses and clubs have received the City of Rockford Hospitality Grant. This award was based, as you're well aware, on changes in monthly revenue related to food and beverage sales when you compare 2019 to 2020 with this pandemic. So the $900,000 grant program that reallocates CARES Act funding to supplement state and federal relief programs, we had an average award of $11,000 with a maximum award of over $25,000 to these businesses. We know that these businesses need far more. We also understand that the health implications are intricately tied with the economics. So I would certainly ask everyone, continue to be vigilant, although you're hearing really good news, and it is really good news. So we should pause and celebrate that good news, socially distanced celebration. But we also have to understand we got here through a lot of hard work. And no one, and I will be the first, or Dr. Martell would be the first, and maybe I would be the second, to say no one wants to have to go backwards. We've done this together. We need to continue to move in the right direction. That positivity rate is dropping in Winnebago County. It's dropping for our region, and now the vaccine is here. So let's work smart. Let's work together. Let's take care of one another. Let's continue to practice social distancing. Let's continue to not gather, especially during the difficult time of not gathering during holidays. Let's wear our face covering and wash our hands frequently. And to those employees who are able, please continue to work remotely. And at this time, we'll take any questions that you have.